Speaking of wild ones, though, there's one place to start, and it's at St. James Park. Newcastle and Liverpool. There's tons to talk about in this game. Newcastle take the lead. Liverpool go down to 10 men. You figure, okay, done, dusted, no Virgil van Dijk, easy. And then it's Darwin time.
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle have a ton of chances. They should have been 2, maybe 3-0 up at some point. They
Almiron could have had a hat-trick.
Easily. Alisson was amazing in goal. And Liverpool rode their luck, stayed in the game. To be fair to them, Klopp made some good substitutions, not like Eddie Howe. We'll come to that in a bit. And then they turned the game on its head. Really, Darwin, 2 moments, 1 mistake by Burn. And then Bruno Guimaraes losing the ball where he should not have lost the ball. And then Salah for Darwin and the clinical Darwin finish like he can do. Like we haven't seen enough of him doing maybe, but like he can do. And in the end, for me, it's a game that Newcastle lost more than Liverpool won in a sense because they were in complete control and should have never let that game go away.
It's tough because we always remember, the end of the game. And we remember how Newcastle threw it away, as you put it, right? Yeah,
definitely.
If I'm Liverpool, if I'm Klopp right now, and I go back and I'm saying, and I'm reviewing this game, yeah, he can be happy. He said, he's had 1,000 games of managing, never seen anything like it, blah, blah, blah. That, yeah. Great. I mean, refer him back to the comeback against Barcelona. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few as well.
I think you've had a few games, better comebacks. But equally, I'm imagining he's not going to be happy at all. He's not going to be happy about Van Dijk getting sent off. Yeah. And not because he disagrees with referee decisions. He switches off, and so he's late,
wrong
right?
positioning.
And in that situation, and I think it was the correct decision.
Yeah,
he's not going to be happy with Trent, not for the first time. Mm-hmm. That booking, I mean, you've been told. And okay, he was fouled, I thought, by Anthony Gordon. But because you get fouled, the referee doesn't call it, doesn't mean you can just throw the ball away when the guy goes to pick it up. Right?
He should have been sent off, yeah.
So he's not. And you can say that the substitutes made a big impact, and they did, Elliott and Diogo Jota, and then obviously Darwin later. But equally, those were the guys who didn't start.
I know, I agree with you.
So is he? I mean, I'm saying
but when
is he concerned? Is he going to be angry?
I mean, he's going to be more happy than not, obviously because of the win. But I think, like we saw even against Bournemouth, like we saw at Chelsea, where they could not be consistent enough for a big period of time enough. I think there's a lot of things to work on, starting with the midfield. And we're not going to go again on the defense. Konate wasn't there because he's already injured. So Matip stepped in. I think whatever game plan you have, whatever intentions you have in a game, when you concede so early and then go down to 10 men after 30 minutes, everything goes out the window. So I don't know how much he would be cross. Certainly, I think with Trent, because we saw against Bournemouth, this is not. I don't know what's going on with Trent, but this is just not good enough defensively. I mean, what we see back-to-back games now.
I feel like you've been saying this for the past 3 years.
Everybody has. I know, but I just.
I can deal with you misreading a situation defensively.
Yeah.
But I can't deal with you making a mental error, 2 mental errors, which could have cost you another red card. Because the Anthony Gordon thing, the throwing the ball away is just stupid. And the second one,
that's crazy.
You don't need to do that. Where is he going? You're by the sideline. You've got help. You can maybe even catch Anthony Gordon.
He's in his own half.
Exactly.
If he was going through on goal, okay, maybe, but not like that.
Eddie Howe said that they played better 11v11. It's something we often hear from coaches, and I always wonder about this. Surely you must train playing with the man up and playing with the man down.
For sure.
You're at home. Make the pitch big. How do you not manage that lead? And you didn't like his substitutions.
No, I didn't like. I thought he was very naive the way he did in a game where they've been really, really in control for most of it. And like we said, they should have been 2-0 up, maybe 3-0 up at some point. But as long as Liverpool was still in the game, don't try to attack and go and score the second goal when there's 10 minutes to go and you're 1-0 up at home. And you can just play rondo, basically. And Liverpool were pressing better. And obviously, when Jota comes on with energy, when Elliott comes on with energy and Darwin, all of that, I get it. But come on, don't bring in Harvey Barnes who can only think about running forward straight, sprinting with the ball. That's all he does. I mean, come on, it was all about managing the ball, keeping the ball, and they didn't do that.
All right, Jules, let's get into this a little bit more. And let's start with the Virgil van Dijk red card. Because we talk about mental errors. When we go and normally it's Trent who gets crucified for defensive mistakes. And we've done that. Here was Virgil van Dijk. Now, Alexander Isak is through. He's just outside the box. Van Dijk is late with a tackle. And when you watch it, it looks to me like he's late with the tackle, in part because he's distracted, because to his left, on the other side, Tonali's running through, and Andy Robertson is 3 steps behind him. Now, I love Tonali. Yeah. But I know for a fact he's not as fast as Robertson. Yeah. So did Robertson get caught up off the pitch? Did somebody miss their defensive movements? Am I making excuses for Virgil because I like Virgil?
No, I don't think so. I think he can see Isak on his right, and basically, like you said, Tonali behind him on his left. I think he's in between because if the ball goes to Tonali, he's there. He steps in and intercepts the ball. And he must be thinking, I'm also okay with Isak. But I think he should be only focused on Isak because, like you said, when I think Robertson, who's late and who's at fault, would catch Tonali. And even if Tonali gets the ball, he's still quite wide compared to the goal, compared to Isak. So I think there's an error of judgment from Van Dijk not to focus solely on Isak. And then, for me, he just takes him out. He swipes at him like in judo, when you like... Yeah.
There's no question that it's a foul. So to me, the debate is it a denial of goal-scoring opportunity? And I think you just have to look at it is if he doesn't foul him, is Isak likely to score? If he doesn't foul him, he's one-on-one with Alisson. Yeah, exactly. And you can say, but it's Alisson. Yeah, but I know.
And on top of that, there's the red for Trent that was not given, obviously, which I'm sure played in the referee's mind.
That hadn't occurred to me that...
I'm not saying it's compensation. But
it really should not have.
No, it should not have. But I'm sure, as we've said, I mean, you know, that's my theory all the time.
Because if you start thinking that way, then if I'm Klopp, I'd be like, yeah, go ahead, send off Trent, but leave us Virgil. Right? I mean, I don't, at least offensively.
Yeah, but like I think the referee realized very quickly that he made a mistake by not sending off Trent. Like he should have.
I want to get into.
But what's happening with Van Dijk? Just briefly, quickly. Because last season was not good, and he was not good collectively as for a team as Liverpool overall. He was not good individually at all. We saw him with the Netherlands being pretty bad in the Nations League as well at the end of the season. And now his start of the season is not very good either. Like,
I thought it was better. It was a better start to the season this year. Now, obviously, he made a big mental error here, and he cost them. And from what I'd heard, he's not stupid. He knows the season he had last year, and that he had doubled down in preseason. Mm-hmm. And, was ready to really go back to the level he was at, probably pre-injury. And I thought he was headed that way. But something like this, I think, can be a real blow now because now he's out for, you got the international break, then he's going to have the suspension. So, we're not going to probably see him until late September again.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to play, you would think, in Europe, I guess.
Yeah, no, obviously, yeah.
But in the league, yeah.
One Champions League game.
Yeah.
One Europa League even.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just wondering if there was also a time where he was that good because the midfield ahead of him was that good. Now that the midfield is not that good anymore, we see a bit more of the flows that he has in his game at his age now.
You know what we need? Because obviously the midfield before was so good. We need some stats nerd to come up and give us data on situations that Virgil dealt with before. Yeah. With kind of the original... the Wijnaldum, Henderson midfield. Yeah. And now, and see what the difference is. Yeah. Midfield now, a work in progress. Obviously, we saw Endo in there. Again, hard to judge because you go down to 10 men after half an hour. But I thought they really struggled. Even at 10v11. As I mentioned before, Eddie Howe said, we were better at 11v11. He's like, yeah, no, you're not. It's just something you say, and obviously you threw it away at the end. In fact, Almiron had a hat trick of chances, as we said. Yeah. And I thought Liverpool really struggled to keep them out until completely. Later when he made the changes, but even that was more a case of intermittent pressing, which Liverpool did really, really well, and they were rewarded.
I think Klopp's substitution really, and to be fair, Klopp must have said to the players, listen, as long as we stay in the game 1-0, at some point we will have a chance because of what we have on the bench. And when you can bring Jota, Darwin and Elliott and bring their energy and what they can do, even at 10 against 11 and play on the counter. They played with, we only had 3 players attacking, sometimes 4. And that was it. And that was enough sometimes to put a bit of chaos into the Newcastle box and or around the box. Because Salah, Jota and Darwin, or Salah, Jota, Diaz, whatever, are just that good individually, and they can take you on and dribble and everything. So credit to Klopp, because his substitutions were really good and it worked because they stayed in the game, because Alisson kept them in the game for so long. Which, as we said before, was not the same for Eddie Howe, who I think messed up completely his substitutions and the balance of the game.
Well, when we talk about the goals, obviously, there is an element of good fortune that comes in with Darwin. The first one, the ball comes off of Dan Burns' backside and stays right there.
Yeah, but lucky.
That could have gone anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And I think you have to recognize that a little bit. You're also critical of Burn on the second one where it looks like he gets turned around.
Yeah, and Bruno, who for losing the ball there.
Bruno
You don't lose the ball there.
But equally, you've got a 6'7", however tall he is, fullback. You're inviting situations like this, aren't you? I mean, I don't care how athletic he is, but and I just want to explain this for people who don't seem to understand this, right? When you are that tall, your lateral movement is going to be impaired compared to a smaller player. It doesn't matter how great a defender you are. You put Virgil van Dijk at fullback, it's not going to be fun seeing him against a little guy. Obviously, Darwin's not a little guy, but he's a quick guy, and you've got to change him. It's just more difficult when you've got such a big frame. It's obvious. Now, Burns done very well. We all praise Brighton for being geniuses. He played fullback at Brighton. He plays fullback now. So I'm not questioning it, but can you just explain the logic? Does the benefit of Burn, because he doesn't just sit back and pretend, as like an extra center back, right?
No, he comes forward as well. I mean, he doesn't score much or assist much. We saw last season scoring that one goal.
But what is the logic with not playing him at center back? Right, Botman and Shearer are better. But
they've got really good. But I think he also, with Trippier on the other side, you go again with
the 3.5.
Yeah, exactly.
Back 3.5.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a back 3 because he's not as attacking and not as good on the ball than Trippier is on the right. So you keep the balance of your defense when Trippier goes forward. You've got Burn there with Botman and Shah. So I guess that makes you a bit more solid. There's one thing on that goal, on the second goal, the second Darwin goal. I don't think Burn or anybody in that Newcastle defense expect Bruno Guimaraes to lose the ball where he does. So imagine in your head, you have the ball, right? Darwin is there. Salah is a bit deeper because they're only 10 men in Liverpool. So you have the ball. You feel, okay, our line is good here. So the back 4 was well aligned. We have the ball. This is good. Suddenly Bruno loses the ball, and then because at that level you lose the ball, and then suddenly you're under pressure because Salah can pick the pass that he does for Darwin. And so if you Burn, you're already there, but you've already played 90 minutes. You must be tired. It's 1-1, so the tension is there. In the stadium, it's not the same atmosphere at all than it was even 10 minutes before when you were 1-0 up and looking like cruising that you were going to win. And suddenly the ball must come at him really, really fast with Darwin running. And I just don't think he deals with it that well at all. And the last thing is, Darwin just scored a goal 10 minutes before, right? It's a similar position. The ball is on the floor. This time the ball is a little bit in the air, okay? But Nick Pope is beaten on his right-hand side, right? The shot goes across him, right? 100% Darwin is going to put the ball in the same place, having scored pretty much the same goal 10 minutes before. How can Pope is beaten again on the same side, right? By the same player in the same position 10 minutes later? I don't understand.
Do you think it's the old thing about goalkeeper must never give up a goal on his near post type mentality?
I don't know. Or maybe he thought, okay, Darwin put it on my right the first time. He's going to put it on my left.
But that would be odd.
That would be weird. So even looking at it, I was, okay, it's a really good finish and it's right by the... So there's not much... I don't think many goalkeeper... But I'm just saying, if I was Pope, I would be thinking, okay, he just scored the same one there. Surely there's a big chance that he's going to put it in the same place. Darwin is a confidence player. Do you see what I mean? Especially 100%. When he misses chances.
And for another reason as well, is that you would expect him to put it across from that position because in case Pope parries it and deflects it back out,
Very true.
there's going to be a runner coming
And
in.
most of those finishes are like that anyway. They go across, goal on the right of the
for that
goalkeeper.
very reason.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to talk about the Liverpool front forward situation. And I hate doing this, Liverpool fans. And I'm going to repeat what Rami Abbas, Mo Salah's agent, said. He said if he wanted to move, he would have moved earlier. But this story will not go away. There's outlets in Saudi reporting that, Mo Salah just played his last game for Liverpool and so on. Now, as somebody who lives in England as a fan of the Premier League, I'm a fan of Mo Salah. I hope that's not the case. That said, and I think from Liverpool's perspective, I still think right now there is a gap. I know they have 5 big-name forwards, and Moneyball suggests that you should ditch one of them and monetize them, especially if, like Salah, he's in his 30s, he makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
Maybe you can then strengthen other areas of the pitch, right? And they certainly have the alternatives because it's Diaz, it's Darwin, it's Jota, it's Gakpo, Szoboszlai can play in the front 3.
Elliott as well.
Harvey Elliott as well, yeah. But I was just thinking about this. Like, is there a number at which it makes sense? And Klopp's comments about the window being open, which we'll get to later. I mean, does it suggest that in the back of his mind, like, as much as he wants to keep him, maybe Salah wants to stay, if they put a big enough number in front of the ownership, the ownership would say, like, this would be stupid for us to keep him.
Yeah. Surely. I mean, I think there's always a number. There's always a price for anybody, anywhere, whatever your job is.
And more a price for Liverpool than a price for Salah. Because I'm assuming...
Yeah.
Look, if Salah said, like, I love it in Anfield, but you know what? I'm going to go and love Al Ahly if for 250 million a year, whatever, for Benzema type money, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But that didn't happen, as far as we know. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure they can put together a package if he wants to, but he's not moving because he wants to make more money, right?
No.
So then you work on the ownership. And you go to the owners and say, he makes a lot of money. He makes 15 million a year, give or take. He's got 2 years left. He's in his 30s. You have these other strikers. No?
Yeah, no, I like the way Klopp responded to it and said, like, we have no offers, but even if we had, it would not move for, whatever. If you put 100 million on the table, I think they would think about it for sure.
And if you put 150, they pull the trigger.
I don't know. If Salah doesn't want to leave, I think after everything he's given to that club, it's hard to push him out and say, listen, I know you want to stay, but...
I would agree, and this is why I think it's unlikely, although I think they're going to continue talking about it. There's another factor, too, which I'm writing a column about this, and we're going to get into later as well. For all this perception, Saudi Arabia, so much money. It's only 4 teams that are spending money in Saudi Arabia. Because the others don't have any money. I'm going to go into detail on this in my column, which should drop later this week. But those 4 teams, their strikers are Alexander Mitrovic, who just arrived. Maybe they would have signed Salah, but, they have Mitrovic. Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, and I'm forgetting the 4th now, which is kind of embarrassing. Anyway, it's somebody else really, really good. It'll come to me in a minute, right?
Yeah.
So... when you have 4 top-end, kind of goal-scoring forwards, obviously Salah, you can say, plays wide.
Yeah, a bit like Mane.
Is he going to go to Al Nassr so he can keep up with Mane and Cristiano? I don't think so.
No.
I don't, and there's a limit, and there's a limit in the number of slots and so on. And
even for the Champions League, there's a limit of players.
Yeah, so I feel pretty good.
I don't know. Next summer, with a year left on his contract, I think he's going. If the Saudis still have the same investment policy, but now I don't think he will.
I don't even think it's a Saudi. I think it's a public investment fund.
Yes. That's for sure.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.